At this moment, Masarat Alam has been arrested. The separatist leader was last evening put under house arrest. This leader had led an anti-India rally, waving Pakistani flags and raised pro-Pakistan slogans. The BJP had read the riot act to the Mufti government to arrest Masarat.
Police station Shahidganj reached his home early in the morning and told him that he has been arrested and he has brought here inside this police station which is near to his home. Basically, FIR has been lodged on Wednesday against Masarat Alam and some other leaders of the Hurriyat conference, and under that FIR, so far Masarat Alam has been arrested by the Jammu and Kashmir police. There was a tremendous pressure not only from the Home Ministry but even from the central government to the Jammu and Kashmir state government to initiate action against Masarat Alam, and finally today on Friday the action has been initiated. The other Hurriyat leaders like Said Ali Shah Gilani, Mirwais Farooq and Shabir Shah have been put under house arrest because today the Gilani faction of Hurriyat have given the call for the Tral march, which has been completely denied by the authorities as well as by the police. So far the police has made the elaborate security arrangements across the Srinagar city because they believe that probably after the Friday prayer people may come out on the street, particularly the supporters of Hurriyat, and they may try to create some kind of violence. To stop that violence, the police has so far tried to make security arrangements.
All right, for more on this story, we are joined in by Shuja ul Haq. Now, Shuja, just take us through, what really were the circumstances that actually forced. It almost now appears that the state government was forced into taking this decision or, to arrest Masarat Alam. What were the things that actually led to the arrest of Masarat Alam?
Well, that's right, Sanket, you're bang on. The state government was forced to arrest Masarat Alam. If they were not forced, then they would have arrested him on Wednesday itself when that incident took place. But this also sort of, begs the answer to that question is as to what will be the strategy that the state government, which includes the BJP in itself, will have in dealing with Kashmir. Let's remember it. Kashmir is not a normal, just another state of the country where the issues are just about development, just about making sure that people's local issues are taken forward. These issues of separatism and leadership like Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani and their programs and their calls will keep on happening. They will keep on cropping up tomorrow or day after. What will be the strategy that the state government and the PDP, BJP will have towards it? So far, it was made very clear to us, even with this incident, that the PDP, which is led by Mufti Muhammad Sayyid, wanted to give a space, some sort of a space to the ideology, and his point of view was that the ideology should be fought with an ideology in a democratic manner. That somehow has not worked well with the BJP. But even then, even in these circumstances, Mufti Muhammad Sayyid has made his point. He did not arrest Masarat Alam right on Wednesday when that incident took place. He waited. In fact, even today, yesterday in the evening, they put him under house arrest and made an arrest only this morning. It will be very interesting to see how it goes forward from here on, because this could be a flashpoint between the two sides. It cannot always happen that Mufti Muhammad Sayyid will have a different point of view and the BJP will have a different point of view. It will become lives very difficult for both of them inside the government. That is going to be very interesting to see the policy of the state government and both the parties towards dealing with the entire issue of Kashmir, the political issue of Kashmir. We know they have a certain common minimum program when it comes to development, when it comes to taking Kashmir forward. But what about the core problem that still exists on the ground, the signs of that are very visible with incidents like these? What about that? What will their strategy be from here on? Sanket?
That's right, Shuja. Do stay on with us. In fact, earlier in the day, Minister of State in the Prime Minister's office, Jitendra Singh, spoke to our consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai, and this is what he had to say.
My simple question, Mr. Jitendra Singh, is what is your approach going to be to the Hurriyat? The Masarat Alam you have now elevated into a hero by arresting him in the manner that you have. You have created a new Hurriyat hardline hero. What is your approach going to be? Will you have a dialogue with the Hurriyat? Will you completely ignore the Hurriyat? Will you act against the Hurriyat? What is your approach to the Hurriyat, sir, going to be?
There are two parts to your question. A, that our approach has been very consistent and steadfast as far as the separatism and the terrorism is concerned. The BJP leadership has been very consistent over the years, even when we were in the opposition. And therefore, there is zero tolerance for terrorism, zero tolerance for separatism. The second part of your question about having arrested, would you be pleased if we had not arrested? Would that satisfy you or others?
Are you saying that you have arrested him under media pressure? Are you saying you have arrested him under media pressure?
Situational requirement, this arrest was called for.
Sir, I want to know, are you planning that the limited question, if you remember, sir, during the Vajpayee government, Vajpayee ji had initiated a dialogue, a parallel dialogue with the Hurriyat. Does your government intend to do that, or your government believes the Hurriyat are separatists who should be behind bars, either house arrest or arrest? Because you know that it is not just Masarat, there are many others who go out on the street and give anti-India slogans. Will you arrest all those figures who are responsible for this anti-India sloganeering?
I get your point, Rajdeep. Now, as far as the principled issue of entering into a dialogue is concerned, I do not wish to engage myself in that kind of discussion, because the government will take an appropriate view depending upon the situation which keeps changing in the context of Jammu and Kashmir. But this limited to what happened or the sequence of events in the last 2 or 3 days, I think what was called for has taken place.
So, just one final question. Am I to understand, sir, that therefore the government's approach is very clear, whether it is a Yasin Malik, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani or any Hurriyat leader who raises anti-India slogans, who conducts any anti-India campaign in the valley, they will be once again put under house arrest. They will not be allowed a free run.
No, I didn't say that. I said it happened as a result of the sequence of events in the last 2-3 days. I'm not making a generalized statement, not making generalized mention of all the names that you are making.
All right, Shuja, if you must have heard that phone-in interview with Rajdeep Sardesai of Mr. Jitendra Singh, the question is quite pertinent. I mean, the response, the point that even you were making, the response of the state government to, various provocations by the separatists is almost always house arrest or arrest under sections where they eventually get bail from the court. So what really is different or not different this time around?
Well, Sanket, come to think of it, there is nothing different that has been done. Yesterday, there were preparations being made for today's event. Today was the Tral march that was given out by separatist leadership, and as I was pointing out earlier, this is pretty much we can call it a standard operating procedure to put these leaders under house arrest every time there is a march like this. So nothing new was done to that effect. Only thing that has been seen as a development is the arrest of Masarat Alam, that too this morning. It is good more than 36 hours after that incident, and that too all through that this period there was tremendous pressure, tremendous talking about it. BJP from centre leadership making continuously appeals to the state government, the Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Sayyid, but he clearly somehow did manage to put across his point that he is not going to come under the pressure of BJP, so to speak, as an alliance partner. Eventually the arrest did happen, so he as a very true politician did also manage to keep them happy to a certain extent. They did get a face saver, but this is not the answer. The answer that clearly is in the minds of most of the people is that what is the strategy? If, as I was pointing out earlier to you as well, see, the MOS in the PMO was also fell short of that answer. When Rajdeep asked him, are we going to understand that all these leaders will from now on be under tremendous scrutiny or be under house arrest? He said, I didn't say that. It is only the situation that will decide what will happen eventually. But that is the big question. What is the policy of the government, PDP as well as BJP and the BJP leadership in the centre towards Kashmir? See, Kashmir is an issue which will keep on cropping up today or tomorrow. We saw what happened in 2010. There was so much of unrest. Eventually the government, the centre government had to put together a team of interlocutors. They submitted a report, a detailed report on dealing with issues, particularly issues related to the political problem, political turmoil in Jammu and Kashmir. That report has been gathering dust. It is somehow not even been taken. Its recommendations have not also been taken. Even Dilip Padgaonkar himself has been saying that why isn't the government taken up that report and have worked on those recommendations. The big and important point is that whether the policy of this government will also be the same, wait and watch, whenever the situation goes ugly, then only react, or will they consistently make efforts to ensure that at least some sense of solution or resolution is given out.
How is this government going to be different from the previous dispensation? What different will they do this time around? That's the big question at this moment. Interesting you mentioned Dilip Padgaonkar, because we are at Headlines Today actually spoke to him in the wake or in the backdrop of this particular arrest. Let's quickly listen in to what former Jammu and Kashmir interlocutor Dilip Padgaonkar had to say.
Well, that is why I believe that now is a good moment really to walk the talk. Not enough to slap charges against them. They should now be brought to justice. The trial should begin in a court of law at the earliest. It should reach a conclusive phase also at the earliest. And when I think there will be clarity about where the J&K government and New Delhi stand as far as the blatant anti-national activities of Mr. Gilani and Masarat Alam are concerned. Because it is one thing to say we would want to discuss all issues, especially political ones. I'm all for a lively, informed debate subject. What I'm not against are the kind of slogans that you heard on Wednesday in Srinagar. And what I'm against is waving Pakistani flags. This is against the rule of law. And it is not therefore enough. I agree with Rajdeep that there is a certain deja vu in what has happened. But now is the time to bring pressure on the state government to see that these people who have been arrested are swiftly put on trial.
Mr. Padgaonkar, who will bring that pressure? Who, according to you, will bring that pressure?
I think this should be, just as Mr. Rajnath Singh called up the Chief Minister and said he expects him to act firmly. It was a delayed response, but it was nevertheless a good response. But that should not be the end of the story, because unless these people are put on trial, unless the trial is open to the public, it should not be an in-camera trial. Let them say what they have to say. And then let the courts decide. You have somewhere or the other, as the Times of India editorial today put it, you've got to draw the red lines. And now is the moment to draw those red lines.
All right, Mr. Padgaonkar, many thanks for joining us at this moment. All right, we also have Executive Editor Javed Ansari on the phone line. Javed, sorry we had to cut you short because of that interview that we were getting from the PDP leader. You were saying? Javed, can you hear me?
Yes, Sanket. What's your question?
Yes, Javed, the point is how, I mean, a lot of reactions that we have got through the course of the day in the past 1 hour is that perhaps this could be the state government acting under pressure. What is the sense that you get? Is this the PDP government's act under pressure, or is this the new way that this government is actually going to deal with the separatist crisis?
You know, if you listen to what the PDP is saying, they're saying this: we follow a calibrated approach. Ours is a nuanced approach. However, on issues like this, on issues where India's sovereignty and national integrity is at stake, where India's security is at stake, where elements on Indian territory are raising Pakistani flag and raising slogans in praise of Pakistan, there has to be just one approach. This is an unlawful activity, this is an anti-national activity, and it has to be dealt with immediately and forthwith.
That's right. Javed Ansari, many thanks for joining us at this moment. This will remain our top focus here on Headlines Today, as well as some other stories that we are going to track. Time for a short break at this moment. Be back with a lot more.